St Ives! St Ives, yes! We made it! We made it to St Ives! Hey! Well, that was 25k of hip-wrecking, swamp-infested, rocky, just a horrendous section of running. You don't really run, you just kind of survive. Just be in no doubt. That section between Botallack, Botallack to St Ives is a killer. And if you're not fit, you will get found out like I have. So in January of this year coming up, the next year coming up, in 2026, I'm having another go at the Arc of Attrition 50-mile race. It's a race that I didn't manage to achieve last year, and the reason was I could not get that stretch between Botallack and St Ives done in the time available. So the question for me is, can I do it this year? If I can, then I think there's a chance I can do the rest of the race. There's still a lot of running, a lot of walking to do, but that really is the backbone of the race. And that's why we're in Cornwall this weekend in the first week of December, to see if we can do that stretch of the Arc 50 within the time that they give you. So if you've seen my other videos, you'll have seen I took part in the 2025 edition of the Arc 50 and got DNF'd. I missed a cut-off at the Zenor checkpoint. I missed it by 10 minutes, and so the purpose of this recce was to try and just run that really difficult Botallack to St Ives stretch and see if we could get some knowledge, confidence and experience under the belt, really, and just to see what's possible. And we did it yesterday. It was a really tough day, but it was a really useful day. We learned a lot. So I thought what I'd do today is just give you 4 or 5 lessons from yesterday's trip, just to perhaps help people who are at the back of the pack. I was running with Adam and Mike, and they're definitely top 20% of the pack. I'm definitely back of the pack. These are the 4 or 5 things that I learned. So the first thing that it reinforced to me yesterday when we did that Botallack to St Ives stretch was just the need to be patient. It's a very technical section. There's lots of rocks, slippery grass, waterfalls, mud, swampy areas, puddles, everything you can really think of underfoot. And it's challenging, no question about it. And the one thing you really just have to be careful about is that you don't push too hard. You've got to be patient. It feels like it's never going to end at some points, but if you try and push it too hard, you will clip an anchor, clip a rock or slip, and you will go over. And I told myself yesterday not to push it, to be safe. You know, that's the most important thing, you get back safely. And the one time that I tried to push it, I tried to follow Adam and follow his pace, and I came crashing down over the top of a rock and bashed my knee. And that's why I'm now walking the second day instead of running it with the other 2 guys, because my knee's swollen up. So just be patient. It's a very difficult stretch, but it does just take each hill at a time and each step at a time, and you will get there. But you've just got to keep moving, keep the pace up, don't dilly-dally along, otherwise you will risk missing the cut-off if you're a slow runner like me. I think the second thing to remember, and the second reminder, is food and hydration. It's a very, very long stretch between two checkpoints, and no water available really for the best part of 4 or 5 hours for me. So I think if I were you, and if you sweat a lot, it obviously depends on how much you sweat, but if you're entering that section, I think for me it's sensible you've got to go in there with at least 2 litres of water, at least, would be my recommendation. So take an extra bottle and perhaps load it up at the checkpoint in Pendeen, and even have some water, get some water down you at Pendeen, but don't forget to hydrate. It's also, because it's so technical, and you're constantly looking at where you're going, my view is, if you've got poles, I think that will discourage you from eating. And I think the sections are such that really you don't get much benefit from having poles, in my opinion, on that section. I think you're much better off keeping your hands free and leaving them free to eat your food and drink your drink, and keep your energies up. It's quite a sapping section mentally, and the last thing you need is to not have enough food or water going into you. So that would be tip number 2. Just make sure you really focus on that hydration and nutrition more than ever in that section. It's a pretty miserable rainy day today, but even in a day like today, that beach is amazing. Hale Beach. Few surfers out there, looking good. So tip number 3, because it is such a technical section, if you are somebody like me who's going to be at the back of the pack, I think you need to build up a bit of a buffer in the sections that come before it, because you don't want to be going into that part of the race chasing cut-offs. So I think to the extent you can, you want to really build up a bit of time from the start until Pendeen, just to give yourself a bit of wiggle room, because if you're chasing a cut-off and you're feeling tired and you're out there for 5 hours with very few people out there, and it'll be potentially getting dark as well if you're at the back of the pack, it can be very demoralising. So I would say, really focus on getting to St Ives. And to do that, I think you need to concentrate on making up ground on the cut-offs before you even get to Pendeen if you can, because whatever state you're in when you get there, it's difficult to get through that section. So that's my 3rd tip. Try and make up time on that section between the start point and Pendeen. And my 4th tip is perhaps more of a personal one, but I'm not sure everyone would agree with this. But every time I've gone into that section, and I've done that Botallack to St Ives section 3 times now, every time I've gone in there, I've come out with thorns in my hands, because I'm often touching rocks to get down areas, and there seems to be thorns everywhere. And if you fall over or you're grabbing a rock and you get thorns in your hand, it's really annoying. So I think for me, I'll probably put some harder wearing gloves. I've got seal skins here, and they've just got a bit of protection here just for that section, to protect my hands. I've had a few thorns here in my hands that only came out 3 weeks ago, and I was on a recce for the 2025 race last December, so it took over a year for some of these thorns to come out. They're really quite nasty. So for me, that would be a little tip: wear gloves that are just going to give you a bit of protection. So today I'm actually walking the section from Hale to Godrevy. It's very short, but it's a useful exercise in just trying to navigate the dunes of doom that everyone talks about. I can see why people get lost. It's not that obvious unless you look out for these posts. That is quite clearly the key. Really look out for those, and there you can see the arrow quite clearly pointing to the right here, not the left. So, but there are lots of other paths that shoot off all over the place. People talk about these stretch of dunes as being the dunes of doom, and then some people say, oh, it's not so bad. They're all marked and it's easy to find your way around. Now hopefully UTMB will mark the course with markers, but it actually is really easy to get lost. I mean, look at this for example. You come over this hill and look down here, and it looks obvious you'd go down this path here. There's a big sign here with an acorn on, and you think, yeah, that's obvious, it's down there. But actually, right down here, you can see where the sand has covered up the signpost. There's actually a marker there pointing you left. So actually the route you need to go is down this little path, down there. Now that's not obvious at all. That's the much more obvious route down there. So it isn't that straightforward. Hopefully, as I say, UTMB will mark these routes, and you'll have hopefully markers down here guiding you off to the left. But just be really careful. I mean, almost worth, if you're in any doubt, when you get to each of those tombstones, just checking it out. It will be dark, but checking it out with your torch, just have a good look, see where the arrow is, because when there's a major diversion in the route there, it can get confusing. I mean, obviously the alternative is just to keep a very close eye on your watch and your GPS and follow that, but it's sometimes it's easy to forget to look at that when you think the route's obvious. So yeah, oh, this is fun, going down here there. Woohoo! And up here I can see where Adam and Mike have been this morning. Way. So yeah, I'm back in January to do the race with Adam. Adam did Snowdon with me earlier this year, and Rob's coming too. He also did Snowdon with me, so we're all doing the 50 miler together. And it should be a great experience. Really looking forward to it. I mean, one thing that a recce coming down here does that really reminds you is you've got to take it seriously. I'm going to get a bit more puritanical, I think, with my alcohol and chocolate biscuits over the next month, and also up the training a bit, because the next month there's time to make improvements, and you need every bit of fitness you can get to do this course, whether it's the 50 miler or the 100 miler. It's difficult, and we're all at our own standard. And you know, really brought it home to me yesterday, running with Mike, my cousin, and Adam, and a friend called Ben. They're all super fast, and they cover the ground so effortlessly. Yeah, just get all that fitness in and all that running in that you can, because now's the time to do it. You've got time to make a change between now and the end of January. I am doing all this for a charity called Icon, the same charity as I ran for in Snowdon 18 months ago, raising money for them to help young people in Surrey with their mental health. So I'll put a link in the video below if you want to make a donation. That would be great. Actually, there's one extra bonus tip. that I would have for that section between Botallack and St Ives, and it's related to how you navigate the technical sections. And it is that there's a lot of different options for you to run through each section of the path. There's normally a very wet bit down the middle, there's some slopey bits on the side, and some rocky bits as well. And my experience of yesterday, although you get more stuff in your feet, is just go straight through the middle of the watery bit. Ironically, and perhaps counterintuitively, the wet bits tend to be more grippy than the bits at the side, because the side tends to be very slippery, and obviously it's on a slope, whereas often the streams down the middle wipe away all the slippery mud, and you get some quite grippy rock. So yeah, although you get your feet wet, you're going to get your feet wet anyway. I would suggest you go straight down the middle of the flat section where the water tends to gather, and I think you'll find, if you take it carefully, that that's a safer route for navigating that section of the course. Even after heavy rain, the section here in the dunes is, as perhaps you might expect, pretty dry with all this sand. Look at these dunes, they're beautiful, look at that. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, look at the ground here, it's as dry as anything really, given the amount of rain we've had. Perhaps not surprising, given that it's all sand dunes, but yeah, just coming to the end of the Dunes of Doom section. And I think for me, it's 6 kilometres of very easy running. I think you've got to do a bit of running here just to keep the kilometres ticking over. There are some technical sections to come. There's about 30k of the race to go when you come out of the Leland checkpoint. So on average, you only need to do 5 kilometres every hour. I've just walked this 6 kilometre section in about, very easy walk, in about 1 hour 15. But really, you need to run it, I think, because you've got to keep that time up. There's some technical sections coming where you'll be quite slow, and I think to get back in good time, that is the place where you need to just focus on just keeping the pace up. You don't want to be easing off too soon. But very encouraging in many ways. It's not half as bad as people sometimes make out. And as long as you keep a close eye on your Garmin watch, or a very close eye on the tombstones and the directions they're showing you, I don't think you'll get lost. Good to have done it, even if I have walked it with a swollen knee. But a useful recce nonetheless. Right, time to get in the car and go and pick up Mike and Adam, who by now should be well on their way to the finish line. Right, so we've just packed up running and I've driven to Port Reith, and I hear the boys coming in now to see Adam and Mike up there. Good timing. Hey. I know, I literally arrived 5 minutes ago. No. You're making good time.
Yeah.
See you off. Off you go.
See ya.
See you at the end. There they go. Making good time. Well, that's very different. It's a nice Christmassy feel. I've just come to the end here to see Adam and bike in for the final stretch of the run. For those of you who haven't done it before, you come all the way along here from Botallack and up a long road here, and then up this very steep section at the end, through all of this gorse bush and into the eco park. But it's a very steep section there. You see the cars down there. You have to come all the way up there, the final hill of the race, which is catches a few people out. It's actually quite a nasty hill to end the race, but that's the final stretches of it. And once you've made it here, you're obviously that's the finishing line. There they are. Ahoy! You're almost there! Don't give up now! Right, I'm going to run you in. The fake finish. Watch out for the dog turd.
Oh!
Well done, boys. Don't go too fast, I've just had lunch.
Oh.
I'll run you in. I'll be an archangel.
There you go. Try.
Good running, lads.